Die with Zero by Bill Perkins, author. Introduction and book background, core philosophy and purpose of the book detailed. Chapter by chapter summary, real-life applications, case studies and reflections, final insights, takeaways, and action plan. Let's get started. I'll break it down into parts and label each as I go. Part 1. About the author and origins of the book. Who is Bill Perkins? Bill Perkins is not your traditional financial guru. He is a successful hedge fund manager, poker player, entrepreneur, and philanthropist with a uniquely bold view on wealth, risk, and purpose. Raised in Jersey City, New Jersey, Perkins climbed the ladder of the finance world to become a prominent energy trader, managing billions of dollars. He later gained media attention through his high-stakes poker tournaments, lavish lifestyle, and bold financial experiments. But beneath the surface of glamour and wealth, Perkins developed a deep concern. Many people were accumulating wealth for the sake of accumulation. They were saving endlessly, delaying joy, and ultimately passing away with full bank accounts but empty experiences. This gave birth to his life philosophy, and this book, Die with Zero. Why write? Die with Zero? Perkins wrote Die with Zero as a wake-up call. The book is meant for anyone blindly chasing financial security while postponing joy, exploration, or meaningful experiences. Instead of glorifying late-life savings or extreme frugality, it argues for a life rich in memories, relationships, and experiences, with the ultimate financial goal being to die with $0. Part 2. Chapter 1. Optimize your life for experiences, the central premise. Bill Perkins begins with a life-altering truth. Your most valuable currency is not money, but time and experiences. Money can be earned, lost, and regained, but time only moves in one direction. The big mistake most people make is behaving as if time is infinite and hoarding money like they'll live forever. He poses a vital question. What is the point of dying with millions in the bank if you haven't lived a full, rich life of experiences? The concept of experience dividends. Perkins introduces the idea of experience dividends, which are the lasting emotional and psychological returns you get from meaningful experiences. For example, traveling across Europe with friends at 25 will give you joy not only in the moment, but in the years and decades afterward when you reflect back on it. The earlier you create these experiences, the longer you get to enjoy their dividends. The fallacy of delayed gratification. While personal finance experts often promote delayed gratification, saving now to enjoy life later, Perkins flips that idea on its head. He agrees that saving is important, but insists that it must be strategic and time-aware. Why? Because your ability to enjoy certain things diminishes with age. A 25-year-old backpacking across South America is one thing. A 75-year-old trying to do the same thing is a different story. He emphasizes, some experiences have an expiration date. The memory dividend strategy. One of Perkins' most powerful tools is the memory dividend strategy. Here's how it works. Invest in experiences early. The younger you are, the more energy and flexibility you have. Relive the memory. Recounting experiences increases happiness and life satisfaction. Memory compounds. Unlike money, the value of a good memory can grow over time, especially when shared with others. So instead of only investing in stocks, Perkins wants you to invest in memories. Example, the missed trip. He shares a story about a friend who was obsessed with saving. That friend once turned down a dream trip to Paris in his 30s because it wasn't in the budget. Years later, his circumstances changed, and he had the money, but the time, freedom, and health were gone. The moment had passed. That trip is a symbol. Don't let moments pass while waiting for perfection. The experience curve. Perkins introduces a conceptual graph. The experience curve. It plots your age against your ability to physically and mentally enjoy various experiences. Ages 20-35, the peak of energy, mobility, and curiosity. Ages 36-50, career pressures and parenting might reduce freedom. Ages 51-70, resources often increase but physical limits emerge. Ages 71 plus, time is more abundant, but options and energy shrink. The takeaway? Do age-appropriate experiences at the right time. The graveyard is full of people who waited too long to live. Reframing regret. One of the boldest messages in Chapter 1 is this: you'll regret the things you didn't do far more than the things you did. Perkins invites readers to ask themselves, what are you putting off until someday? What is a dream you've shelved because of fear or frugality? What would your 80-year-old self say about your choices today? He challenges us to shift our focus from maximum savings to maximum fulfillment. 3 key principles. From Chapter 1, experience now, reflect later. You get more joy out of reliving past memories than reliving bank statements. Age-based experience planning. Not all experiences are suited for all ages. Plan accordingly. Avoid the trap of infinite delaying. Someday is not a strategy. You must act within your time window. Practical takeaway exercise. Bill Perkins recommends an exercise to help you reprioritize your life. List your top 10 desired life experiences. Assign a best age window for each. Identify which ones you're delaying unnecessarily. Make a plan to do at least one of them in the next 6 months. Time waits for no one. The most expensive thing you can buy is regret. Part 2, Chapter 1. Optimize your life for experiences. Bill Perkins begins the core of Die with Zero with one bold premise. Your goal should not be to die rich, but to die having lived fully. The problem: misguided savings culture. Most people are conditioned to delay gratification. We are taught to save aggressively, prepare for emergencies, and work hard now to enjoy later. But Perkins challenges this notion. He argues that life isn't linear and the future is not guaranteed. People often defer joy until retirement, by which time they may lack the health, time, or energy to truly enjoy what they've worked for. Memory dividends are the true interest of life. Bill Perkins. He introduces a concept central to the book: memory dividends. What are memory dividends? Memory dividends are the psychological returns you get from investing in experiences. Unlike stocks or savings accounts, experiences give you compounding joy. For instance, a backpacking trip through Southeast Asia in your 20s may be remembered for decades, each time offering joy, pride, and a sense of identity. These dividends give life meaning, improve your mental health, deepen your connection to people, reinforce your identity over time. Perkins asks the reader, are you investing in memories with the same seriousness as you invest in your 401k? Optimal life strategy. Time bucket your life. To plan for a life rich in experiences, Perkins introduces the time bucket system. He suggests breaking life into decades, e.g., 20s, 30s, 40s, and then writing down the kinds of experiences most suitable for each period. For example, in your 20s, you might want to travel the world. In your 30s, maybe it's starting a business. In your 40s, you may want to focus on family or endurance challenges like marathons. In your 60s, maybe it's about mentorship or volunteering. The idea is, do things when they are best done. Don't delay a scuba diving trip to your 70s when your body might not be capable. Don't postpone love, risk, or exploration in hopes of a someday that may never come. Life is not a rehearsal. Perkins uses personal stories and anecdotes to drive the point home. One example involves a man who worked until age 70, proud to have saved millions. But within 2 years of retirement, he died of cancer and never used his money for joy or legacy. The chapter is a plea to stop acting like you'll live forever and start valuing your life as a finite, urgent opportunity. Chapter summary. Takeaways. Don't oversave at the cost of living. Invest in experiences early. Track your life in time buckets. Match the right experience to the right age. Realize that memory dividends are as valuable as financial dividends. Life is not meant to be postponed. The clock is ticking. Part 3, Chapter 2, Invest in Experiences. Early Bill Perkins opens this chapter with a powerful truth. When you're young, your money should buy time and experience, not security. This flips the conventional wisdom on its head. While traditional financial advisors urge young people to save aggressively and defer enjoyment, Perkins argues the opposite. Your youth is your greatest asset, and the value of experiences is exponentially higher when you're physically, mentally, and emotionally vibrant. Youth, the best return on experience. When you're young, you have fewer responsibilities. Your physical health allows for a wider range of experiences: hiking Kilimanjaro, backpacking in remote regions, spontaneous travel. You form core memories that shape your identity. The memory dividends begin compounding early and last longer. Going to Burning Man at 25 is a different experience than going at 55. He encourages readers not to hoard money in their youth. Instead, optimize your early decades for bold, diverse, and even wild experiences. These will pay emotional and psychological dividends that no stock ever could. Case study: The Lost Backpacker. Perkins shares the story of a software engineer who, after working hard through college and landing a 6-figure job at 23, was advised to start maxing out his 401k. Following conventional wisdom, the engineer saved heavily and never took time off. At 37, he looked back and realized he'd never taken more than 5 days off at a time. His dream to backpack across Asia never happened. Now, with 2 kids and a mortgage, it was too late. This, Perkins argues, is a life deferred and ultimately diminished. Experience has an expiration date. Here's one of the key ideas in this chapter. Not all experiences can be postponed. There are windows in your life where certain experiences are most enjoyable or even possible. Miss that window and they're gone forever. Examples: traveling solo is harder once you start a family. Running marathons may be impossible after certain health conditions arise. Romantic spontaneity often fades with age. Psychedelic exploration, artistic risk-taking, or spiritual retreats may feel alien at 60 versus 30. His advice? Spend your money when the experience per dollar ratio is highest. The experience curve Perkins introduces the idea of an experience curve that looks like a bell curve. On the left, you're too young or too broke to do much. At the peak, you're young enough to enjoy and old enough to afford. On the right, you're financially secure, but your body, energy, or social context has diminished. His advice is to hit that peak early and intentionally. Don't wait for life to hand it to you. Think in terms of ROI, return on life. Perkins blends financial thinking with a lifestyle design. He urges people to think in terms of return on life, ROL. Ask, what will give me the highest return in joy, meaning, and memory? Prioritize time-sensitive opportunities, like a 3-week trip with your aging parents. Choose boldness over comfort while your energy is high. He notes that money is a tool, not a purpose. Accumulating it without purpose only leads to a wealthy but wasted life. Extended reflection. Why society resists this idea? There are deeply ingrained fears around spending early. Fear of poverty in old age, fear of being judged as irresponsible, fear of instability. But these fears, Perkins suggests, are based on outdated assumptions. Today, we live longer, have access to better planning tools, and benefit from a flexible gig economy. Risk has changed. Our strategy must evolve. Chapter takeaways. Use youth and health to maximize your experiences. Avoid hoarding in your 20s and 30s at the expense of living. Understand that each life stage offers unique, time-sensitive experiences. Don't miss your window. Think in terms of return on life and memory dividends, not just financial ROI. Money is a means, not an end. Part 3. Chapter 2. Invest in experiences. Early, this chapter builds directly on the time bucket strategy, emphasizing the urgency of doing certain things now instead of later. Why timing matters. Perkins makes a bold claim. The same experience does not hold the same value at every point in your life. Taking a motorcycle trip across South America is thrilling and identity-shaping at 25, but might be impractical or even impossible at 65. Many people misunderstand this. They assume they can make up for lost time when they're older, not realizing that age diminishes not only opportunity, but also enjoyment. The value of an experience is not constant over time. Some things are best done at certain ages. Experience has a use-by date. He draws comparisons to how people plan retirement carefully and obsessively, yet fail to plan their experience timeline. A person might wait until retirement to travel, only to find their energy is too low, or health restrictions prevent them from enjoying the trip. This idea connects to the concept of diminishing marginal utility of money. While you may have more money later in life, your ability to enjoy that money decreases. Let's say you plan a luxury ski trip in your 20s versus your 60s. At 25, you have energy, resilience, excitement, and social connection. At 60, you have money, but not the physical agility or youthful enthusiasm. So why defer the trip until later? The scarcity of time. Perkins emphasizes that time is your scarcest resource and it is non-renewable. Every minute that passes is a minute you'll never get back. Money can be earned, lost, and regained. Time only moves in one direction. Thus, the optimal use of wealth is not just accumulation, it's conversion into meaningful life experiences while you still have time and health. The graph of regret. He asks readers to visualize a graph. One axis, age. Other axis, regret over missed experiences. Most people assume regret fades, but research shows it increases over time, especially when tied to things we failed to do. This is called inaction regret. the vacations you didn't take, the loved ones you didn't visit, the risks you didn't pursue, those loom larger over time. Memory as an asset. Think of your memories as a portfolio. Some of the richest people are not the ones with the largest net worths, but those with a memory bank full of joy, risk, love, and adventure. Perkins asks readers to optimize their life around this asset class. Experience now. Memory dividends forever. He recounts a friend who chose to spend $12,000 on a month-long African safari with his family in his 30s, at a time when he could barely afford it. 20 years later, he describes that memory as priceless, recalling every detail vividly, unlike the stocks he bought that year. Practical strategy, the experience planner. To help readers take action, Perkins introduces an experience planner. List your top 5 experiences you want before you die. Identify the best age or age range to do each one. Budget time and money accordingly. Prioritize those experiences over excessive saving. The shift is profound. You are no longer just saving for someday. You're intentionally spending for now and designing a life with purpose. Chapter 2. Takeaways. Don't assume experiences are equally valuable at any age. Recognize the diminishing returns of money over time. Invest in experiences when they deliver maximum memory dividends. Avoid lifetime regret by acting when the window is open. Treat your memory bank as seriously as your financial bank. Part 4. Chapter 3. Why Die with Zero? In this pivotal chapter, Bill Perkins unpacks the reasoning behind the book's provocative title. At first glance, Die with Zero may sound irresponsible or reckless. But as he dives in, it becomes clear this is a philosophy rooted in intention, purpose, and optimization, not waste. The real question, what's money for? Perkins reframes the role of money entirely. He asks, what's the purpose of accumulating wealth if not to convert it into a fulfilling life? They treat wealth accumulation like a game, chasing bigger numbers without questioning the end goal. The assumption is that the more money you have, the safer and better your life will be. But this is a dangerous oversimplification. Perkins argues that money is just a tool, not the goal itself. It's a means to an end, namely, a life filled with peak experiences, contribution, connection, and satisfaction. Why most people oversave? One of the most powerful arguments in the chapter is that most people die with too much money. They overestimate the amount they need for retirement, underestimate life expectancy, but overprepare for extreme longevity, fail to adjust for diminishing enjoyment and energy with age, don't factor in when they'll stop being able to travel, explore, or even walk unassisted. The result? A fortune is left unspent. And tragically, that money represents a lifetime of missed opportunities. Every dollar you didn't spend to enjoy your life is a dollar that cost you a moment, a memory, a smile that never happened. Legacy versus experience. Many people justify dying with money by saying they are leaving it to their kids or causes. But Perkins challenges this. He suggests, your children don't want your money when they're 60. They need it in their 20s or 30s, when they're building their lives. Most inheritances arrive too late. The average inheritance in the U.S. comes when the recipient is already nearing retirement age. Better timing beats larger amounts. Giving $50,000 to a 28-year-old can be more life-altering than $500,000 to a 58-year-old. He proposes a powerful principle: give your kids money when it has the greatest utility, not when you die. This also applies to philanthropy. Waiting until death to donate is noble, but doing good while you're alive allows you to witness and direct the impact. The Cost of Hoarding Perkins introduces the cost of hoarding concept. Just as hoarding food spoils resources, hoarding money can spoil your life. Consider someone who dies with $5 million unspent. That's not just a financial inefficiency, it represents experiences that never happened, trips never taken, friends not visited, dreams postponed until it was too late. And worse, that hoarded money likely came from sacrificed time, extra hours worked, stress endured, vacations skipped. In other words, it cost them twice, once in time and again in unused potential. The die with zero principle. The ideal life arc, according to Perkins, looks like this. Earn money when you're young and healthy. Spend it deliberately on experiences and people. Save just enough for reasonable longevity. Distribute assets to loved ones or causes before death. And ultimately, die with zero, having extracted the maximum value from your time on earth. He shares this striking visual metaphor. A life well lived should look like a well-played game of poker. You bet big at the right moments, take calculated risks, win some, lose some, but in the end, you walk away from the table satisfied, with nothing left undone. Objections and counterpoints. Perkins anticipates criticism, particularly from conservative financial voices. Some might argue that die with zero promotes recklessness, ignores uncertainty, or disrespects legacy. But his response is clear. This is not about being careless. It's about being conscious. You plan, you adjust, and you spend with purpose. You don't blow your money on junk. You invest it in joy, love, learning, and legacy. You avoid dying with regret and unspent potential. He makes the case that too much caution is as dangerous as too much risk. Caution may keep you alive, but it can also keep you from living. Chapter 3, Takeaways. Your goal should not be to die rich. It should be to live richly. Money is meant to be used, not hoarded endlessly. Give to your kids and causes when it matters most, not at the end. Optimize your money to create a life of peak experiences. Plan your spending timeline to end close to zero, not as a failure, but as a sign of full life utilization. Part 5. Chapter 4. What about the kids? This chapter takes a direct look at one of the most common objections to the die with zero philosophy. What about my children? Bill Perkins dives into a nuanced, heartfelt, and practical discussion on parenting, inheritance, timing, and legacy. His view is not anti-family. Quite the opposite. He's asking us to love our kids intentionally, not passively. The legacy myth. Many people justify accumulating vast savings by saying, I want to leave something behind for my children. This is noble on the surface, but Perkins asks you to question, what kind of legacy are you leaving? Is a lump sum of money in your will really the best gift? Or would timely, intentional support during your children's most formative years be more meaningful? He reminds us that money is only one part of a legacy. Values, time, shared experiences, and education can be far more enduring. Timing is everything. Here's the central insight. Money given too late is like medicine after death. It misses the moment. Most people receive their inheritance after the age of 50. By then, they've finished school, raised their own kids, made or missed key career decisions, bought a house. established habits and paths. The money often comes after it could have made a pivotal difference. Perkins argues this is a missed opportunity. Instead, he suggests, give your kids their inheritance when it can still shape their lives. That usually means between ages 26 and 35, a period he calls the launch window. This is when young adults are starting businesses, getting married, paying off student loans, buying their first home, exploring their identity and dreams. A well-timed $50,000 gift in this phase could be more transformative than $500,000 later on. Empowerment, not entitlement. Of course, a common concern is this. Won't giving money too early spoil them? Perkins agrees. Timing and context matter. It's not about handing out cash recklessly. It's about supporting life momentum. He suggests a few principles to ensure the money empowers. Tie gifts to goals, education, business ventures, travel, or home buying. Make it earned or matched. For example, match their savings for a down payment. Encourage learning through use. Let them make some financial decisions and mistakes while you're still alive to guide them. He likens it to teaching someone to drive. Would you rather they take their first ride after you're gone? Or while you're beside them, seat belt on, hands ready? Giving money during your lifetime means giving wisdom with the wealth. The idea of a children's inheritance plan. Just as people create retirement plans for themselves, Perkins suggests you build an inheritance plan for your children. This plan should answer, how much do I want to give them? At what ages? Under what conditions or goals? What lessons do I want to attach to this gift? The idea is to be strategic, not sentimental. A $100,000 inheritance can do nothing, or it can be a rocket launcher. The difference is timing and intention. Why you shouldn't die with millions. Some people take pride in dying with a big bank account. A sign of success, they think. But Perkins challenges that view. Dying with $5 million isn't just money left over. It's experiences never lived. That wealth cost you years of your life, working, stressing, delaying. You denied yourself and possibly your loved ones countless shared experiences, travel, connection, and joy. Worse still, your heirs may never even use that money wisely. They might stash it in savings or feel burdened by it. The point isn't to avoid leaving money altogether, it's to distribute it with foresight. What kids really want. Perkins reminds us of something parents often forget. Most children don't want their parents' wealth. They want their presence, their stories, their time, and their guidance. These are gifts that compound over decades. He argues the most meaningful things you can give your kids are financial wisdom, not just funds, life experiences together, emotional and intellectual support during turning points, a model of how to live fully, not just how to save. When you die with zero, you leave behind a life fully lived. You teach your kids that the goal is not to accumulate, but to be alive, here and now. Chapter 4. Takeaways. Inheritance is most effective when given before death, when it can shape life choices. Money should be a springboard, not a crutch. Strategic giving in the 26-35 age range empowers your kids without spoiling them. Experiences and shared memories are more powerful than lump sum inheritances. Build a children's inheritance plan with as much care as your retirement plan. Part 6, Chapter 5, Balance Your Life. Bill Perkins now zeroes in on what he believes is one of the most crucial principles of the entire Die with Zero philosophy: balance. This chapter is a deep dive into the nuanced art of knowing when to save, when to spend, and how to extract maximum meaning from the interplay between time, money, and energy. The core dilemma: time versus money. Let's revisit the idea that underpins this entire book. You trade your time for money, but you can't trade money for more time. So many people fall into the trap of believing they'll always have more time to enjoy their money later. They oversave, overwork, and overdelay the actual point of wealth: experience and enjoyment. The irony: they often miss the window when they have the health, energy, or desire to enjoy what they worked so hard for. Perkins argues that the goal isn't to maximize wealth, but to maximize life. That requires life balance, not just financial balance. Introducing the experience curve. One of the most original and thought-provoking concepts in this chapter is what Perkins calls the experience curve. It's based on the idea that every experience has a cost, money, a window, when your body-mind is able to enjoy it, a value, the joy, memories, and meaning it brings. Let's use an example. Backpacking through Southeast Asia might be difficult at 18 due to lack of money, amazing at 25 when you're broke but adventurous, still fun at 35 but less appealing due to work and family, unlikely at 55 due to energy or interest, impractical at 75. Perkins' point is this: not all experiences are available at all ages. The value of the same dollar changes depending on when it is spent. So, if you wait too long to do something meaningful, whether it's travel, starting a business, learning a language, or skiing in the Alps, there's a real chance it will become physically or emotionally impossible later. Your health and energy are assets that depreciate. Use them. This isn't a vague warning. It's a formula. Time, X, money, X, health. Rich life neglect one, and you start to lose your chance at a full life. Case study: life phases. Let's walk through a practical breakdown of the 3 key stages in a person's life, according to Perkins. Phase 1, youth, 20s, 30s. Pros: high energy, high curiosity, low responsibility. Cons: low earnings, limited savings, best use of money, adventure, travel, risk-taking, social exploration, trying new careers, relocating, building experiences. Don't oversave. Focus on building a memory dividend. Phase 2, middle age, 40s, 50s. Pros: higher income, increased competence. Cons: lower time, family demands, stress, declining energy, best use of money, family experiences, vacations, milestone events. Selective indulgences, dream car, sabbatical. Memory investments with loved ones. Phase 3, later life, 60s, 70s plus. Pros: more time, reflection, wisdom. Cons: declining health, reduced mobility, best use of money, comfort, relaxation, storytelling, support to children or causes, relive and savor earlier experiences through memory, photos, writing, mentoring. The point isn't to avoid saving or working, it's to realize that not every dollar is best spent later. There is a sweet spot for everything. Perkins writes, "Don't save all your experiences for when you're least able to enjoy them." The trap of too late. Perkins tells stories of people who climbed the corporate ladder, banked millions, and never went on the vacation, wrote the book, or learned to surf. They thought they'd do it later. One died of cancer. One retired and lost interest. One's marriage fell apart before the dream trip. These aren't rare tragedies. They're predictable patterns that come from living unbalanced lives. Emotional ROI versus financial ROI. Another profound insight from this chapter is the idea of emotional return on investment, what Perkins calls EROI. Financial ROI asks, how much more money will this make me? Emotional ROI asks, how much joy, love, connection, and meaning will this give me? Perkins argues we should optimize for EROI, especially in our prime years. Why? Because EROI pays dividends in memory, fulfillment, and identity. So, that expensive trip to Tuscany with your parents? EROI, priceless. Starting a business that may fail but fulfills you? EROI? Life-altering, leaving your job for a year to volunteer? EROI? Possibly the best year of your life. His challenge, run your life like an emotional investment portfolio. Tools for balance. To help apply this philosophy, Perkins suggests a few practical steps. Create an experience budget. Don't just budget for bills and retirement. Budget for adventures, art, fun, connection. Use a life calendar. Visualize how many summers, Christmases, or road trips you have left. It creates urgency. Audit your energy. Track when you feel most alive. Invest your time and money in activities that match your energy window. Make a regret list in advance. Project yourself forward 30 years. What will you wish you had done more of, less of? Use that to guide today's decisions. Track your EROI. After every major purchase or experience, ask yourself, was the joy worth the cost? Chapter 5. Takeaways. Life has natural energy phases. Optimize experiences to match them. Experiences lose their power as you age. Don't delay joy. Emotional ROI is a more useful life metric than financial ROI. Balance saving with strategic spending on what really matters. Use tools, calendars, budgets, regret audits to stay balanced. Part 7, Chapter 6. Time bucket your life. We often think we have forever, but what if you broke your life into chapters and planned your dreams accordingly? In this chapter, Bill Perkins gives us a concrete, visual method for implementing everything we've learned so far, called time bucketing. It's a system for organizing your life by decades or chunks of years, assigning key life goals or experiences to each period, and actively tracking and executing them while you're still able. The time bucket concept. The idea is simple yet profound. Imagine your life is divided into 5 or 10-year segments called time buckets. Each bucket represents a phase of your life where your energy level, desires, health, interests, and circumstances will be relatively consistent. Here's what a sample of 10-year buckets might look like. Bucket 1, age 20-29. Bucket 2, age 30-39. Bucket 3, age 40-49. Bucket 4, age 50-59. Bucket 5, age 60-69. Bucket 6, age 70-79. Bucket 7, age 80 plus. Perkins urges us to fill each bucket with the experiences, goals, or dreams we want to achieve during that time period. These might include travel destinations, family milestones, career achievements, creative projects, physical challenges, e.g., hiking Kilimanjaro, learning to surf, relationship goals, e.g., spend summer with aging parents. Why this matters. Each bucket comes with a deadline. Some dreams aren't possible in your 60s that were very doable in your 30s. So, by assigning your goals to the most realistic and rewarding time frame, you avoid the trap of postponing until it's too late. A life planning exercise. Step 1. Draw your buckets. Take a piece of paper or a spreadsheet and create rows for each age range, e.g., 2029, 30, 39, up to 80 plus. Leave space in each one. Step 2. Brain dump your dreams. In another list, write everything you've ever wanted to do or try without editing yourself. This is your full wish list. Don't think about cost or practicality at first. Examples. See the Great Wall of China. Start a vineyard. Spend a month in a monastery. Write a novel. Dance at your child's wedding. Take a cross-country RV trip. Learn Italian and live in Florence for a season. Go on a spiritual retreat. Step 3. Assign goals to time buckets. Now, begin assigning each dream or goal to the most appropriate time bucket based on energy and health required emotional readiness, timing with family or work life, financial feasibility, personal intuition. For instance, running a marathon, age 30-39, bucket sabbatical in Bali, age 40-49, teaching grandchildren to cook, age 70-79. You begin to see that some dreams must happen sooner rather than later. Step 4. Get real about timing. Here's where the magic happens. You start to see the cost of waiting. Perkins says this exercise makes it painfully obvious that time is not infinite and certain windows won't reopen. Example. If your kids are in high school, the family adventure road trip needs to happen now or never. If you want to summit a mountain, your knees in your 60s might disagree. These use it or lose it moments are crystal clear with time buckets. Step 5. Schedule and execute. Now, with each bucket populated, choose 1 or 2 items to schedule each year. Allocate money to fund the experiences. Create a timeline to ensure none are forgotten. Why this works, Perkins explains that time bucketing transforms abstract dreams into realistic, scheduled goals. You don't drift into a meaningful life. You plan it. Unlike vague vision boards or passive bucket lists, this strategy injects urgency and structure. It tells you, this trip must happen before 40. This project must begin before I take that promotion. If I don't save $10,000 by 2027, that dream dies. You start making real trade-offs and real plans. Time buckets and regret minimization. Here's a powerful insight. Time bucketing is the antidote to regret. Most people arrive at old age regretting what they didn't do, not what they did. By visualizing your entire life and placing your goals in the appropriate windows, you reduce the risk of missing opportunities, confront the reality of aging, prioritize what matters most, live with intention, not autopilot. It's emotionally confronting, yes, but it's also liberating. You're no longer sleepwalking through your most precious years. Perkins' real-life example. Perkins shares how this method forced him to buy a boat in his 40s, something he always dreamed of doing. He was tempted to delay. What if I buy it later, when I have more time? What if the market crashes? What if I should invest that money instead? But his time bucket told him, this is the window. If he didn't act, he might never sail with his daughters while they were still kids. So he did it. And it became one of the most meaningful memories of his entire life. Chapter 6. Takeaways. Time bucketing is a life planning system that aligns your goals with your energy, age, and priorities. By dividing life into decades and assigning dreams to each one, you avoid deferring your life. This system helps you confront reality and make bold, timely decisions. It replaces vague some days with scheduled, intentional living. Up next, Chapter 7. Know When to Stop. Here, Perkins discusses one of the hardest but most important decisions in the Die with Zero philosophy: knowing when to stop accumulating and start enjoying. It's about recognizing the wealth curve peak and the danger of endlessly delaying joy. Part 8, Chapter 7. Know When to Stop. There comes a point when you're not building wealth anymore. You're just hoarding. This chapter deals with one of the most difficult truths in personal finance and life. There is a peak moment for accumulating wealth. After that point, continued saving often provides diminishing returns, not just financially, but emotionally, physically, and relationally. Bill Perkins introduces a controversial but essential idea. You must know when to stop. That means stop accumulating, stop optimizing, stop planning for some mythical later. The myth of just a little more. One of the most dangerous financial habits is the just one more mindset. Just one more year of saving, just one more raise, just one more investment win. Many people stay in jobs they dislike or pass on experiences because they believe they don't have enough yet. It's not time to slow down. They'll enjoy themselves later, when they're richer, older, or more secure. But later never comes. Or when it does, their health, relationships, or drive are gone. Perkins compares this to gamblers at a casino. The smart gambler knows when to walk away while ahead. The delusional one keeps playing, loses their winnings, and leaves with regret. Wealth building is the same. There's a time to accumulate, and there's a time to spend, share, and savor. The wealth curve and its peak. Imagine your lifetime financial trajectory as a curve. In your 20s and 30s, you're climbing the wealth mountain, investing, earning, saving. In your 40s and 50s, the curve keeps rising, potentially peaking. But eventually, the curve flattens. And if you're not careful, you'll find yourself still climbing while the payoff is shrinking. Perkins argues that everyone has a net worth peak, a point where the utility of additional dollars begins to decline. At that moment, you've reached what he calls enough. After a certain point, saving more money just means dying with more money, the trap of fear-based saving. So why don't most people stop accumulating? Why keep hoarding wealth? Because of fear of running out, uncertainty about the future. A lifetime of conditioning to delay gratification, ego attachment to net worth. The financial industry, media, and even your social circle may praise saving forever. But Perkins challenges this idea boldly. He explains that smart planning, not endless saving, is what creates peace. If you've built a reasonable nest egg, have a life expectancy projection, created a spending and experience plan, then you are not irresponsible for enjoying your money. You are actually living wisely. The dangers of delayed life. Many people who die with millions in the bank actually wasted much of their life's value. Why? Because they gave up. Time with loved ones, adventures, healthier years, passion projects, once-in-a-lifetime opportunities, in return for what? A larger bank balance they never used. Perkins refers to this as dying rich and living poor. He shares stories of people he knew who saved diligently their whole lives, only to die before they ever enjoyed their wealth. In one case, a friend had saved over $3 million, but died of cancer before taking his dream trip to Japan. The money he spent his life building gave him zero joy. This isn't financial prudence, it's spiritual poverty. Knowing your number, Perkins suggests that everyone needs to know their enough number. the point where accumulating becomes counterproductive. This number will be different for everyone, depending on lifestyle goals, family situation, retirement timeline, health expectations, cost of desired experiences. Once you reach that point, stop saving and start strategically spending on experiences, gifting time, freedom. This doesn't mean blow all your money. It means transition your purpose from building to harvesting. Your net worth peak is a milestone. Many people treat their net worth peak like a wall they must never descend from. But Perkins reframes it. It's not a wall, it's a summit. You climb it so you can see the view, and then start the descent, gracefully and joyfully. He encourages people to celebrate when they reach their wealth peak. Shift their energy toward distribution, enjoyment, and legacy. Measure their success by lived experiences, not just balances. Why die with zero is not reckless. A frequent pushback to Perkins' approach is this: but what if I run out of money? He responds with 2 points. The solution is not to keep saving forever. It's to plan better. Tools like financial planners, retirement calculators, and experience budgets help people die with zero responsibly. People usually overestimate their needs and underestimate their resources. Most retirees are more frugal and less adventurous than expected. Their money lasts longer than they think. Perkins argues that the real risk isn't running out. It's missing out. Shifting to a spend mindset. Once you reach your peak, start embracing spending for joy. Travel with loved ones, start that passion project, renovate the home, invest in health and vitality, give to causes that move you. These aren't expenses. They are life multipliers. Case study. A tech worker in her 50s, Perkins shares a story of a woman who worked in Silicon Valley for over 30 years. She was worth $5 million and still saving aggressively. Her plan? Retire at 65. But when he showed her she could retire now, travel, and still leave a generous inheritance, she broke down crying. Why? She hadn't realized she was free. She was working out of habit, not necessity. Within 6 months, she traveled to Peru with her sister, funded a music scholarship, bought a small vineyard in Oregon. She began living her second act because she knew when to stop. Chapter 7. Takeaways. There's a point where saving more no longer improves your life, it robs it. Knowing your net worth peak allows you to shift from accumulation to enjoyment. Delaying life for more money is a poor trade. The die with zero mindset is about freedom, not recklessness. Your goal is not to die rich, it's to live richly. Next up, Chapter 8. Give money to your children or charity before you die. This final chapter explores a radical yet beautiful principle: giving while living. Perkins argues that your legacy means more when you're around to witness its impact. Why wait until death to be generous when life is short and moments are precious? Part 9, Chapter 8. Give money to your children or charity before you die. Give with a warm hand, not a cold one. In this final chapter, Perkins delivers one of the most surprising and powerful messages in the book. Don't wait until you die to be generous. Too many people hoard their wealth with the idea of passing it down to their kids or a cause after they're gone. But Perkins challenges this common thinking. Why wait to give if you could do more good now, while you're alive to see it? The myth of inheritance later. Parents often say things like, I'm saving everything so my children can have a better life. I want to leave them a legacy. I'll write them into the will when I'm gone. But Perkins argues this is deeply flawed logic. Why? Because by the time most children inherit money, they're usually in their 50s or 60s, past their most financially challenging years. They don't need it then. Perkins gives examples of families where a child struggled to pay for college while the parents had money sitting untouched in accounts. Young adults went into debt while future inheritances sat locked away for decades. It makes no sense to withhold resources when they would have had the most impact. The optimal time to give. Based on his philosophy and practical analysis, Perkins suggests the ideal age to receive financial support from parents is around 26-35. At this age, kids are building their careers, starting families, and trying to get ahead. A well-timed gift here can multiply opportunities and reduce unnecessary stress. This doesn't mean giving blindly or enabling bad habits. It means investing in your kids when the return is highest. Likewise, for charitable giving. Giving during life allows you to see the results. It allows you to direct your wealth where your passion is, and it amplifies your sense of purpose. Give while you're alive to feel it. There's something powerful about watching your generosity change lives. Helping a child buy a home, paying off someone's student debt, donating to a cause and seeing lives transformed, funding a family member's business, sponsoring a clean water project and visiting the site. These are memory makers, not just transactions. Perkins reminds readers, money is a tool. Tools are meant to be used, not just stored. He urges people to move from legacy-focused wealth, everything after death, to impact-focused wealth, experiences while you live. Preventing inheritance problems. Waiting until death to pass on wealth can also cause family disputes, legal challenges, misuse of funds, poor timing. Perkins recommends thoughtful, phased giving. Start small in your 50s, increase giving in your 60s, complete most transfers by your mid-70s. This gives you control, clarity, joy, and gives your beneficiaries the maximum utility of your wealth. The emotional resistance to giving. Early people resist giving for several reasons. Fear of losing control. Worry about being taken advantage of. Concern their kids won't appreciate it. Habitual saving mindset. But Perkins argues this is usually rooted in scarcity thinking, not logic. The antidote? Planning, boundaries, and trust. You don't have to give everything at once, and you don't have to give blindly, but you do have to move from accumulation to intention. Case study: The Entrepreneur's Son. Perkins shares the story of a successful entrepreneur who refused to help his son start a business. The father believed the son should earn it himself and wait for his inheritance. The son struggled for years, took out loans, failed, and became bitter. By the time he inherited millions, the window for his dream had passed. He was disillusioned. If the father had helped at the right time, he could have changed the trajectory of his son's life and deepened their relationship. Chapter 8. Takeaways. Don't wait until you're dead to give. Your children and chosen causes will benefit more sooner rather than later. Giving while alive is more fulfilling and impactful. The best time to give is when people can still use it to shape their lives. Your legacy isn't what you leave. It's what you do while you're alive. Part 10. Final thoughts and conclusion. Start living now. The goal is not to die with everything. It's to have lived fully with everything. Bill Perkins ends Die with Zero with a simple but life-altering truth. You don't get credit for unused potential, not in life and not in money. Every dollar you never spent, every experience you skipped, every dream you postponed, every risk you avoided, they all add up to a balance of regret. Die with zero doesn't mean die broke. Perkins is not advocating for reckless living, he's calling for purposeful living. Die with zero means dying with no wasted time, no untaken trips, no missed connections, no meaningless hoarding, no deferred joys, no unexpressed love. Your money should serve your life, not the other way around. The 3 lives you're living Perkins explains that every person is living 3 lives at once: your present life, your future life, your remembered life, your goal. Maximize all 3. That means spending wisely now for joy and growth, planning ahead to avoid stress, creating memories that give you satisfaction for years to come. Fear will keep you trapped. Most people don't live this way because of fear. Fear of running out, fear of judgment, fear of seeming irresponsible, fear of the unknown, but fear leads to oversaving, underliving, and regret. Perkins encourages using tools, retirement calculators, financial planners, reverse budgeting, to move from fear to freedom. This book is a wake-up call. You don't get a second shot at your 20s, or your 30s, or your 40s. That backpacking trip you keep postponing, the time is now. That family reunion you've been delaying, do it now. That creative dream you keep shelving, start it now. Life is perishable. Its value is in the now. Remember the 9 rules to die with zero. Maximize positive life experiences. Start investing in experiences early. Aim to die with zero. Use all available tools to plan. Give money to children or causes early. Time is your most precious asset. Don't live your life on autopilot. Know when to stop accumulating. Live intentionally, not habitually. Final summary: the heart of die with zero. You don't have to live rich, but you should die fulfilled. Bill Perkins invites you to shift how you think about money, and more importantly, how you think about life. Your job isn't just to survive, save, or secure. It's to experience, expand, and express everything you were meant to. You won't be remembered for your portfolio. You'll be remembered for your presence. So, use your money while you're alive. Buy time, buy freedom, buy joy, buy memories, buy meaning. And when the end comes, may you die with zero regrets because you truly lived.